my malign heart, and for a decade, I clung to a dangerous illusion, that love could be earned, even bought, if only I gave enough. If only I proved myself enough. It was a belief that tethered me to a family that saw me not as a person, but as a perpetual wellspring of financial relief. I'm 40 now, and the crisp, clean air of Boulder, Colorado, fills my lungs as I look out from the office of my thriving financial advisory firm. I built this from scratch, every brick, every client, every success. You'd think that would count for something, right? A daughter who carved her own path, achieved stability, even abundance. But to them, my family, I wasn't a daughter. I was a bank account with a pulse. I was always the dependable one. The giver. The one who wired the money when Mom called, her voice laced with tears, claiming she'd have to sell her cherished wedding ring. The one who silently funded my brother Lucas's string of ill-fated business ventures, each one more fanciful than the last. And then there was Danielle, my sister, whose life seemed to be an endless series of transitions, each one requiring a fresh infusion of my cash. The numbers etched themselves into my memory, though I tried to suppress them. $8,000 for Danielle's teaching certificate, a career she abandoned after 6 months. $22,000 for Lucas's artisanal coffee shop, it closed before the grand opening. $18,000 for Danielle's dream wedding, a lavish affair in a destination she simply had to have. And for my parents, a steady, insidious drain, $2,400 a month for their mortgage, 2 years straight, because they just couldn't make ends meet. At some point, the sheer volume of it blurred into an indistinguishable sum. I stopped counting. Or rather, I tried to stop. But the finance professional in me, the meticulous part of my brain that ordered ledgers and balanced accounts for a living, couldn't completely shut down. One quiet evening, alone in my apartment, a morbid curiosity took hold. I pulled up my records. And there it was, stark and undeniable, $312,860.52. That number itself wasn't what broke me. What shattered me into 1,000 irreparable pieces was the realization that I hadn't just given money, I had given myself. Every dollar represented a piece of my peace, my ambition, my hard-earned security. And through it all, through every wire transfer, every desperate phone call, every favor, not a single one of them ever asked if I was okay. They never celebrated my birthdays, not genuinely, anyway. They missed my graduation speech, a milestone I had poured my heart into. They laughed at my dreams of building my own firm, dismissing them as cute or too ambitious for a girl. My achievements, hard-won and significant, were consistently brushed aside. I was invisible, except, of course, when they needed something. When their financial tides turned, I was suddenly, miraculously, visible again. And still, a desperate, illogical part of me kept hoping. Hoping for a genuine thank you. For a moment of unadulterated pride in my accomplishments. For love. Real love, not the transactional kind. That fragile hope, a stubborn ember flickering in the dark, finally died the night I showed up at the party I paid for. An $18,000 deposit for my parents' 40th anniversary celebration at a stunning mountain resort. I arrived, dressed in my best, a carefully chosen gift box in hand, my heart thrumming with a mixture of anticipation and a familiar, quiet anxiety. The event coordinator, a polite young woman, scanned her guest list. Her brows furrowed. "I'm so sorry, you're not listed here." I stood there, the cool mountain air suddenly biting, the weight of the gift box feeling unbearable. My heart hammered against my ribs, a trapped bird desperate to escape. Then, my father appeared. His eyes, usually crinkling with a forced warmth when he needed something, were cold, utterly devoid of recognition. He glanced at me, then back at the coordinator. "This is a private event," he stated, his voice flat. "Not everyone belongs here. Not everyone belongs here." The words echoed in my head, a solemn, mournful tolling bell, marking the absolute end of something sacred. It was a final, brutal declaration that I was an outsider, a mere ATM, not a cherished member of their circle. I turned and walked away. Alone. Not even the security guard, who had clearly overheard, could meet my eyes. The shame, for a brief moment, threatened to engulf me. But beneath it, a strange, crystalline clarity began to form. That night, I didn't cry. I didn't scream. There was no catharsis of anger or sorrow. I simply sat in the silent, vast expanse of my living room. Then, with a chilling calm, I opened my laptop and did what I should have done years ago. I canceled every card, every account, every single recurring payment. The endless financial tether that bound me to them, that had drained my spirit for so long, was severed, piece by piece. And then, I sent an email to them, my mother, father, sister, and brother. Starting today, I will no longer provide any financial support in any form. I am no longer your sponsor. The first feeling that washed over me was a profound emptiness, a void where years of effort and misplaced hope had resided. But then, air. Pure, unburdened air. For the first time in as long as I could remember, I could breathe. They came to my house days later. Outraged. Indignant. Their faces contorted not with apology, but with a brazen sense of entitlement. Lucas complained about his rent. Danielle whined about a new course she wanted to take. My mother's voice rose, shrill, demanding to know how I could do this to my own family. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't flinch. I simply opened the spreadsheet. Line by line. Dollar by dollar. The meticulous accounting of my generosity, laid bare. My father scoffed, dismissing it as old news. My mother, ever the master of emotional manipulation, called me dramatic. I looked them dead in the eyes, one by one. My voice, though quiet, was steady and unwavering. This isn't about the money, I said, the words cutting through their self-pity. It's about the way you used me, and never once saw me. That was the day I stopped being a daughter who begged for scraps of love. I became a woman who drew the line. A woman who finally understood her own worth beyond a balance sheet. Weeks later, a letter arrived. It was from my great-aunt's lawyer. She had passed away, and in her will, she had left me nearly $200,000. Tucked inside the legal documents was a small, handwritten note from her. I saw how they treated you, Meline. I couldn't stop it, but I can give you the start of something new. I cried then, truly cried, reading her words. Not because of the money, though it was a balm. I cried because finally, after all the years of invisibility, of being taken for granted, someone had seen me. Someone had recognized the quiet suffering, the constant drain, the unacknowledged kindness. Today, my firm thrives, and I've launched a foundation in my great-aunt's name. It supports young women who, like me, have been financially exploited by their own families. Because no one, absolutely no one, should ever feel like love must be purchased. This past Christmas, I didn't hear from them. I didn't send anything either. The silence wasn't a void, it was a profound, peaceful quiet. Instead, I hosted my own dinner, 12 people who truly saw me. Friends, colleagues, mentors. They didn't ask for anything but gave me everything: respect, laughter, warmth, and the invaluable gift of genuine connection. I learned something profound through all of this. You don't have to keep bleeding to prove you're worthy. Sometimes, walking away isn't betrayal. It's healing. Have you ever had to walk away from family to save yourself? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to follow for more stories about finding strength in silence and rebuilding life on your own terms.